She left you? Good. Let that sink in for a moment, not as a wound, but as a spark. Because this moment, painful as it feels, is your awakening. You see, life doesn't hand out excuses, and it certainly doesn't pause for heartbreak. She walked away, not because you are weak, but because she couldn't handle the storm that is you when you rise. Every tear you shed is fuel. Every sleepless night is a sharpening of your edge. Now, you have two choices. Crumble into the shadows of what you lost, or rise like a lion who doesn't need anyone to validate his existence. And here's the truth. She doesn't define your worth. She never did. Your power lies in your refusal to be broken, in your ability to turn rejection into fire, pain into strategy, and loneliness into dominance. Watch closely as you rebuild yourself, stronger, sharper, unstoppable. Watch as life bends to your will, because the man who refuses to be shattered commands respect, fear, and admiration. Let her absence be your anthem. Let her leaving be your awakening. She left you? Good. Now, nothing can ever break you again. Ebrika heartbreak. That sharp, sudden emptiness that grips your chest and makes every breath feel heavier than the last. The world may tell you to sit in it, to mourn, to wait for someone else to make you whole again. But that is a lie. Heartbreak is not a sentence. It is a starting line. Every time someone leaves, every time a door closes, every time love turns its back on you, it is life's way of forcing you to look at yourself in the mirror. Not the version that smiles for photos, not the version that hides in excuses or pleads for attention, but the raw, unfiltered version. The man who is unbreakable if he chooses to be. Heartbreak strips away illusions, and in its wake it leaves opportunity. That emptiness you feel, that is the space where greatness grows. That pain you carry in your chest, it is not a burden, it is ammunition. Every tear, every sleepless night, every second spent replaying what was low. T is a lesson. The question is, will you let it crush you or will you let it build you? Because here's the truth. Pain does not last, but what you do with pain can last forever. When someone leaves, it is not a reflection of your weakness. It is a reflection of the path you are meant to take alone before the world recognizes your value. Too many men waste their heartbreak, wallowing in self-pity, replaying memories, begging for what is gone. But the men who rise, the men who become unstoppable, use every broken piece as a stepping stone. Every rejection becomes clarity. Every loss becomes perspective. Heartbreak is the world's most brutal teacher, and those who learn from it graduate into a version of themselves that others only dream of encountering. You will find that the same pain that once made you cry in silence will one day make you smile with pride, because you know exactly how far you've come. You will realize that the love that walked away was never meant to define you. Your strength, your ambition, your drive, and your presence, that is what defines you. The fire that heartbreak ignites within a man is unlike any other. When someone leaves, it forces you to confront your fears, your weaknesses, and your untested potential. It forces you to wake up earlier, train harder, read more, earn more, and live with the kind of intensity that no relationship can teach. You start to understand that your life is not dependent on validation, attention, or affection from anyone else. You are not a reflection of her choices. You are a reflection of your discipline, your mindset, and your unwillingness to accept mediocrity. Every scar left by love is a tattoo of resilience. Every night spent in loneliness is a rehearsal for greatness. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you transform. You become the man who is untouchable, not because he has avoided pain, but because he has mastered it. Heartbreak teaches lessons that comfort never can. It teaches patience, focus, and the key, ND of independence, that makes a man magnetic. It teaches you to protect your energy and to understand the value of your time. It makes you ruthless in your pursuit of excellence because you understand that no one else is responsible for your happiness. You are. Love may walk away, friends may fail you, opportunities may vanish, but heartbreak is eternal if you allow it to be your teacher. And in this, you will discover the raw truth. You were never meant to be whole in someone else's hands. You were meant to grow, evolve, and dominate your life on your own terms. So the next time your chest tightens and your vision blurs, when someone leaves and the world feels colder than ever, remember this. You are standing on the edge of your own transformation. That pain, that burning, that ache, it is not the end. It is the forge in which your new self is being made. The man you were yesterday is gone, and in his place, something stronger, sharper, and more relentless is emerging. Here. Break is fuel. It is the rocket that will launch you into a life that no one thought you were capable of living. And when you rise from it, rebuilt, untouchable, unstoppable, you will look back not with anger or sorrow, but with gratitude. Because heartbreak, brutal as it feels, made you the man you were always meant to become. Too often, we let the world dictate who we are, how much we deserve, and what we are capable of. We measure ourselves by the opinions of people who will never walk in our shoes, by the approval of those who will never face our battles, and by the fleeting validation of people who will never carry our weight. But here's the brutal truth. Your worth is not found in anyone else's eyes. It is not in her words, his judgment, or their recognition. Your worth is not borrowed from love, attention, or validation. Your worth exists independent of the world because it is forged in the fires of your effort, your integrity, and your refusal to settle for mediocrity. Why? When someone underestimates you, laughs at your ambition, or walks away thinking they can diminish your value, it is not a reflection of who you are. It is a reflection of their inability to see greatness. The moment you understand that, everything changes. The world no longer controls your mood, your confidence, or your vision. You do. Defining your own worth begins with ownership. It begins with the realization that no one owes you respect, love, or attention. And that is a gift, not a punishment. You are responsible for your presence, your actions, and your identity. Every step you take to improve yourself, every sacrifice you make for your goals, every moment you dedicate to mastering your mind, body, and craft is a declaration of your value. You do not need someone to validate it because it is self-evident. Confidence is not loud, it is silent and unwavering. True self-worth does not seek applause, it knows its own power. People may walk in and out of your life, they may praise or dismiss you, but none of it changes the truth of who you are. If you allow someone else to define your value, you surrender control over your life, and control is everything. Too many people mistake attention for worth. They believe that being liked, loved, or accepted is a measure of their significance. But think about it. History is filled with people who were ignored, dismissed, or ridiculed. People who would have let the opinions of others dictate their path had they listened. The ones who change the world, who build empires, who inspire millions, are the ones who define themselves, independent of outside approval. They don't ask permission to be exceptional, and they don't wait for validation to pursue their purpose. The same is true for you. You are not the sum of everyone else's judgment. You are the sum of your actions, your discipline, and your refusal to compromise on what you know you deserve. Defining your worth also means setting boundaries. It means refusing to allow toxic people, failed relationships, or negative opinions to dictate your self-esteem. Your energy is a currency, and you decide where it goes. People who do not see your value are not qualified to measure it. Those who attempt to diminish you are not authorities, they are distractions. The only opinion that matters is your own, and that opinion is shaped not by fear, shame, or rejection, but by clarity, action, and results. When you consistently hold yourself to your own standard, you become untouchable. You become magnetic because your value does not fluctuate based on someone else's inability to recognize it. There is power in understanding this. When you stop letting others define your worth, you gain freedom. Freedom to chase audacious goals without hesitation. Freedom to speak your truth, and freedom to live unapologetically. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that match your self-respect rather than trying to convince anyone else to see it. You stop fearing rejection because you know it doesn't change your value. It only changes your surroundings. You stop doubting yourself because you understand that your worth is inherent, unshakable, and earned through your choices, your discipline, and your relentless pursuit of growth. And here's the final truth. The world will always try to label you, judge you, or diminish you. Some people will cheer for your success while others will resent it. Some will love you, some will leave you. Some will see your potential, others will dismiss it. But none of that matters because your worth is yours to define. It cannot be stolen, borrowed, or destroyed. It is built from the inside out, and only you control it. Once you fully embrace this, you move through life untouchable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. You no longer wait for permission to succeed, and you no longer need validation to be happy. Your worth is defined by you. not others. And that truth, once realized, gives you a power that no heartburn, rejection, or judgment can ever take away. Pain, that raw, burning sensation that grips your chest, your mind, and your very soul. Everyone feels it at some point: loss, rejection, betrayal, failure. But the difference between those who are broken and those who rise is not the absence of pain. It is what you choose to do with it. Pain is not a punishment. It is a tool, a weapon, a forge. Every tear you shed, every night you lay awake replaying what went wrong, every moment that feels unbearable. These are not setbacks. They are fuel. Fuel to sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and ignite your willpower. Pain exposes weakness, but it also reveals potential. It shows you where you are soft, where you can grow, where you have yet to awaken the giant within you. The choice is yours. Let it destroy you or let it create you. The strongest men and women you admire were not spared from suffering. They were forged by it. Every wound, every heartbreak, every failure added a layer of unbreakable resilience. But sure, when you are hurt, the natural instinct is to shrink, to hide, to seek comfort. But comfort never builds strength. Growth emerges only when you face the fire. Every scar on your body, every ache in your heart, every sleepless night spent questioning yourself is an opportunity to rise higher than before. Pain is not a stop sign. It is a challenge. It asks you, will you rise or will you stay down? And the answer you give determines everything. Those who rise do not ignore the pain. They study it. They understand it. They convert every ounce of suffering into determination, every setback into strategy, every disappointment into fuel for domination. Pain becomes a compass, guiding you toward the life you are capable of claiming. The first step in transforming pain into strength is acceptance. Accept that life will knock you down, that people will leave, that circumstances will betray you. Accept that pain is inevitable, but do not accept defeat. Acceptance is not surrender. It is awareness. It is the recognition that you cannot control everything, but you can control how you respond. And your response will define you far more than the pain itself ever could. Every great achievement, every story of triumph, every moment of glory began with someone who chose to endure when endurance seemed impossible. That is the power hidden in pain. It gives you a choice to become unstoppable. When next comes discipline. Pain is fleeting if you ignore it, but when you harness it, it becomes eternal. You channel it into every action, every effort, every decision. You wake up early when your body screams for rest. You push harder in the gym when your muscles burn. You focus relentlessly on your goals when your mind wants to surrender. Pain, when mastered, becomes momentum. It gives you a reason to rise before the sun, a reason to train harder, a reason to fight longer. Every time you resist the urge to quit, every time you overcome your inner weakness, you add another layer to your strength. Pain is not a chain, it is a ladder, and every rung you climb brings you closer to the version of yourself that is untouchable. Pain also teaches perspective. When you have been through the fire and survived, you no longer fear trivial struggles, petty insults, or minor setbacks. You understand what matters and what does not. You see life with clarity. Pain molds your mind as much as your body, sharpening your focus and refining your priorities. You stop wasting energy on things beyond your control. You stop seeking validation from those who cannot see your potential. Pain teaches patience, resilience, and relentless drive. It trains you to endure discomfort without complaint, to thrive in adversity, and to rise stronger each time life tries to knock you down. Finally, pain builds confidence. When you have survived heartbreak, failure, betrayal, or loss, you carry an unshakable certainty within you. You know that nothing in life can truly break you unless you allow it. You understand that you are the author of your destiny, the master of your mind, and the commander of your life. Pain is no longer an enemy. It becomes your greatest ally. It fuels ambition, inspires courage, and transforms hesitation into action. The man or woman who has learned this truth becomes unstoppable because their strength is not dependent on circumstance. It is born from experience, from struggle, from survival. Remember this, pain will come for everyone. It will find you in every corner of life, but pain is not permanent. Weakness is optional. You can transform what seems like your greatest burden into the most powerful weapon you have ever held. Every wound is an opportunity. Every tear is a tool. Every setback is a setup for an extraordinary comeback. Pain can be transformed into unstoppable strength, but only if you embrace it, master it, and refuse to let it define you. rise, endure, and conquer, because the fire that once threatened to consume you now forges the unstoppable force you were always meant to become. Rejection, that cold, sharp sting that cuts through your pride and leaves you questioning yourself. Everyone experiences it at some point. Someone didn't choose you, an opportunity slipped through your fingers, your effort went unnoticed. But here's the truth that few understand. Rejection is not a barrier, it is a gateway. Every no you hear, every door that closes, every hand that withdraws is not a sign of failure. It is an invitation to rise higher than ever before. Rejection is life's way of separating the weak from the strong, the ordinary from the extraordinary. It is designed not to break you, but to challenge you to elevate, to refine, and to dominate. The world will always try to deny you, doubt you, or overlook you. But dominance is reserved for those who learn to use rejection as fuel, who transform every setback into a step forward, and who refuse to let external judgment define their path. Rejection is a mirror. It forces you to look at yourself honestly, to confront your flaws, and to understand where growth is required. Too many people run from it, hide from it, or try to numb its sting with excuses or distractions. But the truly powerful lean into it. They dissect every failure, every slight, every loss, extracting the lessons hidden within. Rejection teaches clarity. It exposes what is not working, what must be improved, and what opportunities are truly worth pursuing. Without rejection, there is no refinement, no sharpening of your instincts, no owning of your skill. Every no is a masterclass in resilience, a test of your perseverance, and a chance to become a stronger, smarter, and more capable version of yourself. Hebrew dominance is not given, it is earned, and the road to it is paved with rejection. Every rejection you endure is a rung on the ladder to power. Each time someone says you're not good enough, you have a choice. Internalize it and shrink, or study it, learn from it, and rise above it. Those who dominate life are not immune to rejection. They have simply decided that no can define them. They turn the pain of exclusion into strategy, the sting of dismissal into motivation, and the frustration of failure into relentless action. Rejection forces you to compete with yourself, to elevate your standards, and to demand more from life than life initially offers. Every door that closes is a chance to open another, stronger and more fortified. Rejection also builds mental toughness. Life will never be easy. People will doubt you, opportunities will vanish, and circumstances will test you. But if you have learned to use rejection as a tool, nothing can stop you. Every slight, every failure, every moment of being underestimated becomes a layer of armor. You develop patience, focus, and an unshakable confidence because you understand that your path is not determined by others. It is determined by your actions, your resilience, and your refusal to quit. Dominance is born from comfort, but from struggle, not from ease, but from enduring and overcoming rejection time and time again. Rejection sharpens ambition. When someone says you can't, you see it as a challenge, not a verdict. When doors close, you find windows, cracks, and hidden paths. The world cannot hold you back when you refuse to allow rejection to dictate your choices. Each rejection becomes a spark that ignites your hunger for more, a reminder that the easy path is never the one that leads to power. Dominance requires hunger, and hunger is born from what is denied. The more the world says no, the more driven you become, the more unstoppable your pursuit of excellence. Finally, rejection forces you to define your own worth. No one can make you feel small unless you permit it. Every no is a chance to reaffirm your value, your capabilities, and your vision. When you embrace rejection, you stop seeking validation from others and start demanding it from yourself. You begin to operate from a place of power, not dependence. And that is dominance. The ability to move through life without fear of judgment, without hesitation, and without surrendering control over your own destiny. Remember this, rejection is inevitable, but surrender is optional. Every no you encounter is a stepping stone to your next level. Every failure is a rehearsal for victory. Every dismissal, a prelude to achievement. Those who rise above rejection do not resent it. They thank it, study it, and weaponize it. Dominance is not built in comfort. It is forged in the fires of rejection, struggle, and relentless perseverance. Embrace every setback, internalize every critique, and let every door that closes propel you toward doors you were always meant to open. Rejection is not the end. It is the foundation. It is the ladder. It is the weapon. And when you learn to use it, nothing can stand in your way. Rejection is a stepping stone to dominance, and every step you take with purpose, discipline, and fire brand gets you closer to becoming untouchable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. Loss. It hits you hard, like a storm tearing through everything you thought was solid. A relationship ends, an opportunity slips away, a dream shatters, or someone you trusted disappears. The world expects you to crumble, to retreat, to let sorrow define you, but that is exactly the moment that separates the weak from the unstoppable. Rising after loss is not just an act of survival. It is a declaration of power, resilience, and unwavering dominance. The man or woman who refuses to stay down, who stands tall when everything seems lost, commands something the world cannot ignore: respect, fear, and admiration. Respect because others see the strength it takes to endure. Fear because your resilience shows that nothing can hold you back. And admiration because rising from devastation is an art few master. Loss is brutal. It strips away illusions, exposes vulnerability, and leaves a raw emptiness that feels unbearable. But here's the truth. Emptiness is not weakness. It is a canvas. It is a chance to redefine yourself, to rebuild stronger, to remake your identity from the ground up. When someone experiences loss and chooses to rise, they send a message to the world, and more importantly to themselves, that no external circumstance controls their value, their power, or their destiny. Loss tests everything: the heart, the mind, the spirit, but it cannot break a person who understands that pain is temporary and action is permanent. Rising after loss is a conscious choice. It is refusing to let tragedy or betrayal write your story. Those who rise after loss do so because they embrace the lessons hidden within defeat. Every failure, heartbreak, or setback holds information. It exposes mistakes, gaps in strategy, and weaknesses in character. But those who are unwilling to hide behind excuses use this knowledge as fuel. They train harder, focus deeper, and sharpen every aspect of their life. Loss becomes a share, a guide, and a motivator. Every setback is a rehearsal for a comeback. Every moment of despair is a test of discipline and courage. When others see you moving forward despite the odds, despite the pain, they cannot help but respect your strength. Rising after loss also inspires fear. Not a fear born of aggression, but a fear rooted in the recognition that you are untouchable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. People fear what they cannot control. They fear those who turn adversity into dominance. When you rise from loss, you demonstrate mastery over the uncontrollable forces of life. You reveal a mind that refuses to be limited by circumstance and a spirit that refuses to be tamed. Those who once underestimated you now recognize that you are no longer playing by ordinary rules. You are operating on a higher level where loss only sharpens your edge and fuels your drive. Fear follows because they know you will never surrender, never compromise, and never allow anyone or anything to Tate your worth. And finally, admiration. The world admires those who endure when everything seems impossible, those who take the broken pieces of their life and craft something extraordinary. People admire the quiet confidence of someone who has faced devastation and emerged victorious. Rising after loss is magnetic because it proves that strength is not a matter of circumstance. It is a matter of choice. Others may falter, complain, or give in to despair, but you rise, moving with clarity, determination, and purpose. Admiration follows naturally when your life becomes evidence of resilience and dominance. It is earned, not demanded, and it commands attention without even trying. Rising after loss transforms you in ways nothing else can. It teaches patience, perseverance, and relentless focus. It forces you to discard dependence on validation, attention, or comfort from anyone else. You learn to rely solely on yourself, to trust your judgment, and to take control of your destiny. SS becomes not an obstacle, but a forge, a crucible in which you are tempered into someone